a fantastic result. Seemed a really special atmosphere on Monday. Have you taken that through this week? How much confidence and belief has it given everyone?
Well, that's the hope, definitely. It was a win that we needed for sure, and you're right. In the type of game it was on a wet night, and the atmosphere added to a great night. But there's 3 points, and as you said in the question, the hope now is that we take minimum, whatever went well on that on Monday night into the next game at Chelsea, because that's the most important thing now. But I've really liked the attitude of the players back in training, which are very I never really doubt anyway. But I've really liked the focus this week, and I've liked the desire in training, and for sure we've really got to take that into Saturday.
How much potential did you think we saw in that attacking performance, the way all your attacking players were involved?
Yeah, I think potential is probably a good word, because some of the players are quite young, and like I said, within the first season or real season in the Premier League, so that's exciting that they're able to play at that level while still growing as players. But listen, we're only thinking short term. We have to try and get the best out of these guys for every single day, getting ready for match days, because we do believe that if we can get it right, that we can be a dangerous team, and we can be a threatening team. And for sure we're going to have moments in the next few games that can make a difference at the right end of the pitch. So carry on with our work. Like I said, some good things the other night, but we want to make it count for something more than just the 3 points and taking it into the next game, and that has to be the mentality.
Obviously, in the position you are, it doesn't really matter how the goals are scored, but to see the kind of build-up and the assist we saw for the fourth goal from Morgan Gibbs-White, it shows the kind of football you can play.
Yeah, I think that's the Premier League. I think we've come up against it. Every team this season, even Southampton, the other night, is full of real talent and players that can make a difference. And like I said, what we're just focusing on is trying to get our guys who can make a difference to be able to do that. And that's starts with hard work, starts with commitment, and trying to get into positions where they can have the confidence to, like we said, to make a difference in games. But we've got to remember there's all aspects to playing well. There's defending, there's attacking, and everything else around that. And to succeed in any Premier League game, you need to do everything really well, and that's always a reminder for when we play a game, is that when we've done well, it's because we've been good at everything on a particular day. That's when we've got the results. And then when some things have fallen short, or even one thing has fallen short, you can quickly get punished. So every day, we have to stay on the guys and get the best out of them. They get the best out of themselves, and because there's just no let off in this league. So like I said, I've been really happy with the attitude of training this week. Again, I never doubt that at all. But I've really liked the focus, and we've just got to make sure that we sort of harness that and take it down to Stamford Bridge.
I'll take cover now when I mention those words, away form.
No, that's fine.
But do you actually take some real positives from your last couple of away games where you came actually so close?
And to be fair, I would have taken playing not as well as what we did, and getting a point or a win, because that's the most important thing. But at the same time, you do have to look a bit deeper than the results sometimes, and say, actually, the last couple of away games we have performed well, and we've got to try and repeat that with the obvious addition of getting something out of the game. And like I said, the real determination for that to happen. Players are not shying away from, and I certainly not shying away from that. We have fallen short in terms of the points away from home, but the good thing is we still have an opportunity with 2 games left to finish off well. So let's commit everything to trying to do that.
Chelsea have really struggled, and Frank Lampard had a terrible start in terms of the results they were getting, but they have just picked up those points under him, that win. Do you fear that might give them some extra confidence coming into this?
No, we always listen. We're playing Chelsea away, so that is always going to be a really, really strong game and a tough game any time of the season. And you just look at the squad that they have and changes that they can make, the team that they may start with. There are players all over the pitch that can really make a difference, and we have to be really ready for that. I never pay attention to any context around a team that we come up against apart from them being at their best, because I think you always have to plan for that, and that's what we'll be doing. So as always, we want to go there obviously with the best intentions, getting the result that we need and really want. But we've got to know what it takes from our guys to do well, and try and minimise the strengths that they have, because there's a lot as well. And that's where I'm saying that they've been really happy with training this week. There's a real sort of desire and motivation to play again, like between Brentford and Southampton seemed it was a long time between games, not far off an international break time. So to play Monday and then Saturday, which is a quicker turnaround, is hopefully a good thing, because I see a real sort of determination in the lads to do well.
In terms of the players you've got available, are there any changes from those that you had available for Monday?
Obviously, Willie Bully return was only for a few minutes, a little bit longer than that, and that's really all he could give us, because we had a couple of guys playing that were slightly vulnerable with carrying some injuries, so we needed some defensive cover on the bench, and it was great that Willie was able to offer us that, come maybe a little bit soon after the amount of training that he's done and time off that he's had. Serge obviously walked off, and we're doing everything we can to see if he's available, maybe in a different time of the season, and if maybe Nico was fit, then it might be a different situation, but we're going to give him everything we have to see if he can be available, but that's going to be touch and go, to be honest. Scarpa's back in full training now, so he won't be far off being really available, and Dennis has been injured. Actually, I don't think I mentioned it before the last game. He picked up a knock in training in preparation for Southampton, so and he's still not available. So yeah, still a bit of a mixed bag. It's definitely been worse, our injury list, but it always could have been better. But it's never something that we pay too much attention to. It's just a real focus on the guys who are available to play.
Thanks, Steve. All the best.
You, Kirsty.
Thank you. Hi, Steve.
How you doing? You all right?
There's been... Sorry, it's on your foot there. Cheers. There's been quite a lot of goals in your recent games.
Do you want to start again? Or?
Yeah. That.
Nobody's looking, mate.
I've dropped everything, yeah.
You dropped the mic next.
Two microphones, I'll blame him behind. There's been a lot of goals in your matches recently. I wonder if that little dose of chaos at this stage of the season can bring the best out in your team.
Well, yeah, we've scored, I think, 10 goals now in four games, which for us is a good return. It's always an intention, obviously, to score goals, but it's something at times we've not done as well as what we would have liked. We've conceded 9 as well, so I'm not losing sight of that either. Always want to get the balance right, but yeah, maybe like you said, maybe the time of the season, and the game the other night was a little bit different to say the least, and it was just one of them games where you knew more or less from when the game settled down that there was going to be some events in it, and sometimes that can happen regardless of tactics and plans and everything else. It just falls that way. But yeah, the fact that we are scoring more goals probably than we have done in recent periods is good. But at the same time, we're desperate for a clean sheet as well, and how important could that be? And yeah, we're just doing everything we can to do both of them things, really, which sounds obvious, scoring goals and keeping clean sheets, but easier said than done, I can assure you, in this league. So, but let's keep going.
So it's balancing microphones and keeping mobile phones on your feet, to be fair, it's easier than it looks. In terms of that particular quality, though, of going blow for blow in a game, is there something about that particular sort of part of of your games that brings the best out in your players, do you think? Is it that
well,
particular
Yeah, well,
moment?
I think it's certainly the last 2 home games where Brighton, we went 1-0 down and managed to come back and win the game. Obviously, the other night, we were always in the lead. There were times where we had setbacks along the way, goals that weren't brilliant goals to concede, and they can really sort of take you off track, really. So I like the fact that we haven't let them goals we've conceded sort of really interfere too much with the plan and the resilience of getting through the game and getting out of the game what we want. And we're going to need that because, listen, there's loads of scrutiny around the games now this time of season and the tension and we, as I always say, we talk openly about that. We don't want to ignore it. But in amongst all of that, we're also talking about clear minds, clear decision making, back yourself, back your teammate, and obviously, give everything that you've got, including sticking to the way we want to play and the plans that we got in place for any particular game. And I think that's going to be really important now. It is always important, and it has been in the last few games. And we've got to try in that aspect of the game to be at our very best.
Thank you.
You too.
I'm just wondering, you talked to Kirsty there about the level of intensity in the Premier League. Over the season, have you found anything about coaching in this sort of maelstrom, this pressure cooker of the Premier League, surprising or different to how you expected?
I don't think it's just about coaching. I just think it's an increase in level in everything. There's not one thing that you're not asked to be better at in this Premier League than the Championship or maybe even leagues where players have come from outside of the UK. So it's just a complete, as I said, raise of level in every area of playing, coaching, and even the surrounding aspects of a game. And so it does sort of, to do well, it's got to bring the best out of everybody, really. And that was very apparent early on, and it's not always easy to be at your best because of the demands of the game and the opponents and coaches and things like that. But that's been a big focus for us, is to just concentrate on ourselves and try and really hone in on if we can be at our best, then it'll give us the best chance. And that's really going to be important now for the next 3 games. Really important.
It can be cutthroat as well. Other managers have fallen by the wayside. How do you feel? Do you feel grateful, relieved, happy to be at the last one? To be honest,
I just feel really focused on the next game. I don't think it's the time to be talking about. That's probably a question for the end of the season. I think now it's just all about the players, all about the club, all about supporters, about being together and being unified, and just trying to be at our very best for the game against Chelsea. It's this club is always about togetherness. It's about collaboration. It's about the greater good, and the greater good is trying to get a positive result down at Chelsea, which is tough. And anything outside of that, for me, is just not in our bubble at the moment. It's just real sort of focus and staying on task to achieve what we want to achieve.
Fantastic, thank you. Cheers.
Hi, Steve. Just with Serge Aurier, a potential doubt for the weekend, have you been working more with Joe Worrall at filling in at right back again, and how? Yeah,
we've definitely looked. With Nico's injury, we've definitely looked at options of who could play out there, and obviously Joe went on Monday, and that was something that we planned for if we needed to make the change, and we trained it. But that was a plan for that particular game against Southampton, and that doesn't mean to say that that's going to always be the case if we have to do something like that again, because different players and different profiles of players do suit different situations. But we've definitely talked about, we always talk about what ifs and with player availability, and not just if there's something up with Serge. Could be a number of positions at this time of the season. There's always players, and Chelsea will be the same, and every other team will be the same. That we're carrying knocks and managing maybe some fatigue over the length of the season and stuff like that, where it's possible that not everybody's available to start or to finish games, and but we won't be on our own with that. Like I said, every team will be managing situations like that.
And on the pitch, what kind of game you expected against Chelsea? Like a lot of the ball, are you going to have to suffer at times in the game?
I think, like I said before, probably a bit of everything. I think hopefully there'll be opportunities to go and play some good football and attack well, and we have to commit to that and believe that we can be a threat. And for sure, you have to defend well as well, and sometimes that could be by pressing certain areas. At times, it might be, as you said, behind the ball. We have to play the game for what it is, as well as hoping that the preparation and the plans for the game are good ones. So, yeah, it'll take, we'll ask everything of us for sure. But, it's a great test this time of the season, and, one we'll be desperate to overcome. And if we do, obviously, it'd be great.
Thanks, Steve.
You too, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, no worries. I saw Sean Dyche talking about how he looked at Everton's away form and then started looking at the way they travel and where they stay and all kind of details like that. I wonder if you've done anything different in the last month or so.
Honestly, without going into too much detail, we've tried everything, including speaking to the players and what their preferences are, which we do anyway. That's how we run the culture here. They're involved in most things, the players. But yeah, we've definitely not stuck to one thing and thinking this is the only way of doing it, because obviously, some of that stuff hasn't worked. But we've been really open-minded in changing things around and seeing what the players prefer, and sometimes we've seen some differences in performances, and like I said, the last couple of performances have been better than others, and because I know we've obviously lost a load of games away from home, but there's been times where we've been really close to getting something out of games as well, and I don't think that's always down to travel and preparation and things like that. That's just sometimes a football match and what it can give you. But yeah, we've this planning and preparation is something we pay a lot of attention to, and
is there something in the last one little tweak or just as an example of something that you've done in the last month or so?
Not really. Well, yes, but I wouldn't say that is the main factor. Listen, be all and end all is we've not won a game, so let's not just because we've maybe scored a couple more goals and played a little bit better in phases. Although we want that to grow, and we're not ignoring that. I don't think it's down to too much about off the pitch stuff. Listen, most teams sort of travel well now and are well prepared, and have good ideas of what best practice looks like, and we won't be far away from that. On any given sort of away trip, it's more about the football really, and just making sure that we do better for the whole of games rather than periods of it. But as I said, we're thinking positive. We've still got a chance to finish well with 2 away games left. So let's give everything we've got for that.
Last one on that. Obviously, the atmosphere is different away from home. You don't have that backing of the fans as much. I imagine with Chelsea not having much to play for, it might be a bit flat for their fans at Stamford Bridge. So maybe this is an opportunity where the atmosphere might feel a bit more like.
I can't say that that's something that we're talking about, and I know that there's been other away games where there's been similar questions where we might have come up against a team that have been on a poor run or haven't won at home for a while, or something else is going on, and then you play the game and it has no relevance whatsoever. So, and I'm sure whatever you said there with respect it'll be exactly the same. It's Stamford Bridge, it's Chelsea, it's a home game. I'm sure the supporters will be coming there to get behind their team, and it's something we've got to we've got to deal with, like every away game that any team plays. So that'll be the plan. What I do know is for our guys who are there, I know they'll be making a noise because they always do. I know a lot's been said about our home support. Our away support's been incredible as well. It's just the fact we haven't been able to give them much. But we haven't been less supported or less well supported, and they deserve something, So we'll more than deserve it. Hone it, bring it back in, let's focus on the game and being as ready as we can be to get the best result we can have.